Very good. Okay. So the last thing I want to just kind of touch on, and again, this is just to sort of explain in a little bit more detail, one of the things that I wanted to do this year was to be to just kind of be a little bit more open about what we're doing. Again, Signum is we're a nonprofit institution. We want to be sort of open to the world. What we do, a central part of what we do, what we've always done at Mythgard, is trying to teach the best courses we possibly can and charge as little as we possibly can for them. This philosophy, I think, is one of the fact that I wanted to do the best courses possible, charge as little as possible, and pay our people as much as possible, was sort of a combination of things which had some of the shrewder business people of my acquaintance telling me that this was probably not going to work out 4 years ago when I started it. But anyway, so I want to sort of share what what's going on with us and what your donations are going to support. So if we go back to the campaign page here and sort of look at the overall goals that we have, this is goals for our annual fund over the course of the whole year. It costs us about $20,000 just to keep, per year just to keep the lights on. $20,000 will pay for all of our software subscriptions. That number keeps increasing every year because, of course, we now have, like, for instance, 2 years worth of the Mythgard Academy courses, which are now dozens and dozens of 2-hour long video files, which we have available for open and free download. So that's free to everybody, but not to us. So our costs have been, rising and rising as more and more people are discovering and downloading the larger and larger library of free things that we have available to them. So this is something we're committed to continuing to do, but it costs us stuff to keep these things available for free. So $20,000 for an annual fund will keep the lights on. That will cover all of our software expenses. It basically covers what for Signum University is our campus, right? We don't have Signum is a completely online institution. Signum and Mythgard, it is my goal never to own a building or to rent a building. We are a completely virtual institution with faculty, students, and staff from all around the world, all collaborating and working together, in this fun, exciting online world that we've been living in now for the last 4 years. Our software licenses, that covers our website hosting and as I said, our data storage and the NetMoot session that you're currently attending for us to be able to broadcast our classes plus our extra sessions, all the things that we have to do, all the little things that we have to use in order to keep everything running, is all covered within that. If we can raise $35,000, we raised $32,000 last year. If we can get to $35,000 for our annual fund, that will cover all of our basic non-employee expenses. So that's all of our things, plus a bunch of other fees and things that we really have to do in order to comply with all of all those pesky laws and things like that. So in order to make ourselves legal and to keep us functioning, that doesn't pay for our faculty. That doesn't pay our staff much of anything. But again, it covers all of our essential costs outside of our actual classroom, outside of our faculty stipends and everything, for instance. So that would be huge. That's our balancing the budget goal that we really hope to hit. If we could raise $50,000, it would enable us to build even beyond that. And some of the things that we can expand our student services. We have never been able to offer our students library resources like we want to. We are actually working on beginning that this year, which we're very excited about. But again, we really need help with that. There are so many things which basically are sort of priced for mainstream universities, which we really want to tap into, which we really want to connect with, but have been for years just outside of we just can't afford it. we're too small, and I just don't charge enough tuition. So we've not been able to afford a bunch of things. We're already beginning to be able to do that. If we were able to raise $50,000, it would give us much more. We have a bunch of major fees coming down the road as we complete our process of certification and the whole big multi-year process that is going to be moving into a very exciting phase here over this this next period of time. We've got some major fees attached to that, and so again, if we were to be able to raise $50,000, that would cover all of those things and would be really exciting. And of course, the sort of pie in the sky goal for this year, if we could raise $100,000, it would not only enable us to do all of those things, but it would also enable us to pay our staff. Signum University now has over 50 people who are working for us in various capacities, and many of them, the majority of them, are still working as volunteers because they believe in what we're doing and they're passionate about what we're doing. We have an awesome team of people who do amazing work, and I want to pay all of them as soon as I possibly can. So again, that's a lofty goal, I know. Remember, Signum is tax exempt. We are a nonprofit. So if you know anybody who's looking for a place to use as a tax shelter, as it gets towards the end of the year and they're thinking they really need to increase their deductions, you can tell them about this excellent cause that you know of that they could support. We can also do, if you work for an employer who does employee matching funds. I know many of the major corporations do that. We can participate in matching programs as well. So don't forget to sort of pursue those things and everything. So I just wanted to kind of share with you some of the bigger picture of sort of where we're headed and the kinds of things that we are hoping to be able to do. We're both planning for the coming year and hoping to be able to do as we move forward. This whole adventure of not only beginning Mythgard and being able to really sort of to enable so many people to engage in the kind of academic discussion of Tolkien and of fantasy and science fiction, the kind of discussion that they've never really been able to have. Maybe you were denied it in college. Maybe your college didn't offer classes on Tolkien. I know that's true for many people. Some of you might have gotten lucky in that regard. But even in that case, to be able to take advantage of the global online structure of Mythgard in order to be able to sit in on classes with Tom Shippey and Rowan Flieger and Dimitri Fimi, as I've mentioned, it's been awesome. It's been awesome to see that happen, and then to be moving forward with the larger Signum vision. That we want to really make a difference for people. It's one of the things that always broke my heart throughout my teaching career. As many of you know, I was a tenured faculty member at a brick and mortar institution. And it just every year broke my heart to see students, to see my poor English majors, often poor English majors, leaving school with, high 5-figure debt. It's just that's the American way right now, is that, students are saddled with this debt that they're going to have a really, really hard time getting out from under in the rest of their life. And that's something that always really bothered me. I have been, I survived on a heck of a lot of financial aid when I was in college. I am not from a wealthy background, and I have a lot of compassion for people who have basically, in the system that America has right now, are really kind of facing the choice: do I compromise my education or do I go deeply into debt? And for too many people, in my opinion, there's no really good third option. And ultimately, that's the ultimate vision that Mythgard and Signum have in mind. That's ultimately what I want to be doing, is to be working to build a program where we can help people not to have to choose there, where we can build this, just as we have begun with the fantasy and science fiction classes that have been sort of associated with Mythgard, enabling people to take part in a truly world-class educational experience, but to be able to do it at a tuition level that everybody can afford without having to go into ruinous debt. We would like to be, our vision is to extend that to people around the world, to people at all different levels and in other programs, in addition to be able to share that experience beyond the one program that we have sort of built our institution around right now, which is our master's degree in language and literature. Anyway, that's our larger vision. This is sort of the bigger cause that we want to rally people behind, and it's why, again, this is what's motivated me at the beginning. I mean, if it hadn't been for this, if it hadn't been for the fact that I could sort of look around in higher education in America and see there's a real need for this. There's a lot of people who are really suffering. Something needs to change, and something needs to change in a way that's really positive for students, rather than a way that's just sort of a compromise. And when I started doing Mythgard classes, even when I was doing the Silmarillion seminar back in 2010, just having that experience of interacting with students online really led me to sort of see, this really could work. This really could happen. So anyway, that's our bigger vision. That's where what we're sort of pushing towards. So just to kind of give you guys a sense of where we're headed, what we're doing, and what our donation money all goes towards. Wanted to kind of share that stuff with you. So yeah, I see several people have added in their comments that that their experience resonates with this as far as student debt and being a former English major and everything. Absolutely, I totally hear that. Yeah, so I'm hoping, I'm really looking forward to the kinds of stories that we're going to be able to be telling a few years. It's been great, the sorts of stories we've already been able to have. I mean, I think about, we were talking I'll put Sparrow on the spot because we were already talking about her work earlier on. We just had her thesis presentation. She's just finished our program. Somebody like Sparrow, who didn't have the opportunity to go to a graduate program, and who is now not only has completed and gotten her MA from us in this, but she's now off doing really cutting edge research, and is currently in discussion with people about sort of pursuing grants and funding to continue on her research. This is really great. This is really fun. So it's just to be able to see people having these kinds of opportunities has just been incredibly rewarding for me. So again, just wanted to share what the big picture is, and what all the donations that we receive are going towards.